This is Matt Hurt at Obsessive Viewer on Twitter.
This is Tiny at Obsessive Tiny on Letterboxd.
And this is a probably bonus episode of ObsessiveViewer.com's The Obsessive Viewer Podcast. Hey guys, just introducing this episode, I guess. This is a special bonus episode of The Obsessive Viewer. Basically, what happened was a couple weeks ago, Tiny and I went to a screening of the movie Long Shot and did what we're calling a parking lot special, where we record a review of the movie after we see it at one of those screenings. I'm just now getting around to finding the time to actually release the episode, but it's a special bonus episode in that we also have a special parking lot special recording with Kyrsten after she and I saw the movie Poms at a screening last week or the week before. I can't remember. Time is what is the line from Tag? Time is a construct? Anyway, whatever. So, so I can't tell time. But, so basically this episode is 2 parking lot, special recordings. We've got to find a new name for those. And then as an additional bonus, Kyrsten and I also talk about Endgame. I believe we spoil it. And this episode, that just to tease it a little bit, that has a story that will blow your guys' minds. A defining moment of my life. And, I don't know, the word hero is thrown around a lot. And I think that when you hear this story, you'll know that I'm actually a superhero. But anyway, enjoy this special bonus episode of The Obsessive Viewer. Check the timestamps in the show notes for, timestamps and stuff. We do a spoiler review of Long Shot, but we keep Poms spoiler free, and we do go into spoilers for Endgame, so kind of navigate the spoilers there. So first up, we're going to talk about Long Shot, then Poms, then Endgame, and the story of me being a superhero. Just an incredible person. So anyway, enjoy this episode, and thank you for listening. And we're going to be back next week with a special episode about the last 2 episodes of Game of Thrones. And then I think Kyrsten and I are going to be reviewing Detective Pikachu. So enjoy that, and thank you for listening. Hello and welcome to The Obsessive Viewer. We're a movie and TV podcast that covers a specific topic, be it genre, trope, movie, or show, each episode. You can find more of our work at ObsessiveViewer.com, more of our podcasts at ObsessiveViewer.com/podcasts, and you can like us on Facebook and join the Facebook group at Facebook.com/TheObsessiveViewer. And finally, you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/obsessiveviewer. At the minimum rate of $1 per month, you can get access to an exclusive RSS feed with content recorded specifically for Patreon supporters. And we are here, Tiny and I are here in my car in Carmel, Indiana, after just attending a screening of Long Shot. Tiny, how's it going?
It's good.
Good. We went to the bathroom after the movie. I don't know why that was important.
Yeah, details.
I'm sorry. So we just got out of Long Shot. We're going to do just a bonus review, just reviewing the movie. We're going to do non-spoiler and then spoiler review. Tiny's super excited about it. Let's see. So, everything good?
Yeah, everything's good.
Good. I'll go ahead and read the plot summary, courtesy of IMDb for Long Shot. When Fred Flarsky reunites with his first crush, one of the most influential women in the world, Charlotte Field, he charms her. As she prepares to make a run for the presidency, Charlie hires Fred as her speechwriter and sparks fly. Long Shot is releasing on May 3rd, which is around the time that this episode is hopefully going to be released. And it stars Charlize Theron as Charlotte Field, Seth Rogen as Fred Flarsky, June Diane Raphael as Maggie Milliken, O'Shea Jackson Jr. as Lance, Ravi Patel as Tom, and rounding out the cast is Bob Odenkirk as President Chambers, Andy Serkis as Parker Wembley, and Alexander Skarsgård as the Prime Minister of Canada, James Stewart. So, Tiny, non-spoiler, like, what were you... Oh, by the way, this was directed by Jonathan Levine, who previously... Oh, he directed 50-50 and Snatched and Warm Bodies. Okay. Or he wrote Warm Bodies, I should say. And written by Dan Sterling and Liz Hannah. So, Tiny, what were your expectations going into Long Shot, and were they met? How did you feel coming out of it, and non-spoilers?
I didn't really have many expectations going in. I kind of thought, it's kind of the next Seth Rogen movie, sort of. But it seemed somewhat unique or different because... it seems like he's kind of playing his typical dumb self, but at the same time, it's a little bit of a fresh take. I think I was kind of worried about like all the politics and stuff like that, but well, not worried, but I figured they'd make a big splash about it in the movie, and it really wasn't that bad, or it wasn't that overwhelming or anything like that. So
yeah, like the politics and stuff were very just base level,
subdued. And,
yeah.
So it turned out to be really funny. I wasn't expecting it to be quite that funny. I thought it would be kind of dumbed down. I thought it originally was written by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg and that team, and when I saw it wasn't, I thought it might not be that great. I don't know, just because I feel like they write for each other better, or they're better when they're writing for each other, I guess. And so I was a little bit hesitant in that regard going in, but it ended up delivering quite a bit. I was genuinely surprised. It was really funny.
Nice. I didn't okay, so funny story. I didn't really have any expectations for the movie. I hadn't even seen the trailer until I saw Avengers Avengers Endgame last weekend, because they had like a pre-roll thing during the trailers for that, where Seth Rogen kind of introduced the trailer to Long Shot by saying, like, it was actually pretty clever. He was like, this is before you get started with Endgame, here's my trailer for Long Shot. So, and like he presented it as like, oh, it's a comedy with me and Charlize Theron, and if you are devastated by what happens in Endgame, then you can decompress with this, or if you're super excited from Endgame, you can liven yourself up with this, or what he said something. It was a lot funnier when it was there. But so I saw the trailer and I thought, okay, yeah, it looks like it could be kind of fun, and it's overall it met my expectations. It was a pretty fun movie. There were some really good comedic beats. It follows those standard R-rated comedy rom-com movies, like the archetype for those types of movies, pretty closely. It doesn't do anything that's too surprising at all. I think that there's been some discussion over the pairing of Charlize Theron and Seth Rogen as romantic partners in a movie, and I'm glad that the movie didn't really harp on that. Like, they got together fairly early in the movie, and it wasn't like it didn't harp on the whole, like, the gulf of physical appearance between the two of them. It presented a more genuine and kind of a charming kind of romance for the two in the movie, and I appreciated that.
Right.
And as much as it did follow those tropes and those archetypes of like the standard rom-com R-rated comedy movie, I enjoyed those pieces of the archetype of that style of film pretty across the board in this movie. Like O'Shea Jackson Jr., who I love, he's great. He plays the quintessential best friend of the male character, of Seth Rogen's character, and it's fun. It's just fun that it's like they're doing this trope, but it's not. There's no like self-awareness to it, but it has this genuine feel to it that just feels. more authentic than the trope would give it credit for.
I agree.
Yeah. So so that was fun. He wasn't in the movie quite enough for my taste, but I could have had more of O'Shea Jackson Jr. But what do you think of the romance between Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron?
It was pretty convincing. They really sold. I mean, obviously, there's the whole, like you said, there's a big difference between the two. Charlize Theron is this very elegant and beautiful and, famous, powerful person in the movie and in real life, and Seth Rogen is Seth Rogen, right?
Yeah.
But I think they did a really good job of making Seth Rogen, and he did a good job of, he's a pretty charming guy, and he's dopey, but he's really intelligent as well. And so it's like you can understand how she would develop feelings for this guy. And so it was actually convincing. It's called Long Shot, and it's far-fetched. That's kind of the point of the movie. But it wasn't so far-fetched or such a long shot that you couldn't actually enjoy the movie. It was like, that was the point, and they played with it.
Yeah, and the way that they developed the relationship and kind of had their meet cute and everything, like I won't give it away in the non-spoiler because, if you're interested in seeing it, there's some fun stuff in it to discover. Wow. But the way that they kind of develop the relationship between the two of them, the way they kind of eventually lead into the romantic relationship between the two, is a pretty expected sounds derogatory to it, but it's more. It tracks well the logic that the movie presents of them going from just reconnecting at a party to them having a relationship through him turning into becoming her speechwriter. It's a very authentic and kind of genuine trajectory. The logic follows really, really well, and I think a lot of credit goes to both Seth Rogen's performance, which he's playing his type. But like you said, he has a charm to him. He's more charming. I think the kind of difference between this Seth Rogen role and the multitude of Seth Rogen roles, roles.
Yeah.
I think the difference here is that he is this idealistic character, because the movie starts with him being a journalist. He's infiltrating these white supremacists, and. Did you catch that? Did you catch that one of the white supremacist names that they said was Ariana Grande?
Yeah,
Ariana Grande.
Yeah,
that killed me. That was great.
Yeah.
By the way, we are recording this in my car, but I'm not driving. Just so you guys know.
Yeah.
But anyway, so. Yeah, so the difference, he's this idealistic guy. He's a journalist. He wants to get the real story, and he has his ideologies. He has his principles and everything, and that's demonstrated really well with him. What happens with his job in the opening moments of the movie, and I think that brings the character. It gives him more of a strength, backbone to kind of root for him. And to contrast that, Charlize Theron's character is this, she's presented as kind of a stuffy, not necessarily stuffy, but she's in the political machine, but she hasn't cut loose or anything. But it's not a hokey kind of oh, I need to cut loose and bang this, slum it with Seth Rogen,
right?
But it's more she's finding her individuality and finding what makes her happy in this kind of political minefield.
It's she's kind of rediscovering herself.
Exactly.
Instead of the self that she's kind of had to present in order to get where she got. So.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
That was nice.
What'd you think of the supporting cast? June Diane Raphael and Alexander Skarsgård? She's
always hilarious. I think... Yeah, she's a bit of a scene stealer.
Yeah.
And there were a few times in this where she was she kind of stole the scene. She's really talented. Alexander Skarsgård, it was so funny to see him in this. I didn't know he was in this movie.
Me neither.
But yeah, I'm really becoming a fan of his. I was sitting there thinking about it, like I think he won a Golden Globe for Big Little Lies, which I was so on board for. He's fantastic in that show.
I remember you talking about that show. I really need to watch it.
Right, and he was he was an actor that I just didn't think much about because he did True Blood for so long, and that show was so over the top. But I think he's really finding his niche, as well with Hold the Dark. Really, really incredible performance for him. So yeah. It was fun to see him be goofy and silly and just very different from him.
Oh, absolutely.
I really enjoyed that. And
him trying to do a fake Canadian accent was his first line is "I'm sorry."
Yeah,
just that killed me.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah. And then Andy Serkis, man, God, the guy is just a chameleon.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Like I said to you, I did not recognize him. Throughout the movie, anytime because he played he's this sniveling head of this news conglomerate that's taken over and spreading propaganda and stuff. But he's just so slimy and gross. And I was trying to put together who he was because I just didn't know. And when I saw the credits saying Andy Serkis, I was like, oh, okay.
I think it was. I assume this was intentional, but he looked a lot like he's wearing makeup and prosthetics and stuff. He looked a lot like Steve Bannon.
That's
with the hair.
That's because he looked vaguely familiar.
Yeah,
and I think that's what was familiar to me.
I think it had to be intentional that they did that. Yeah. But he was kind of playing more of a Rupert Murdoch type. Basically, there was a lot of digs at Fox News and stuff like that. That was really funny. And that's the media conglomerate that he owns.
Right.
So yeah, I think they were kind of going for a blend of Steve Bannon and Rupert Murdoch, and they pulled it off pretty well.
They did. Oh, yeah.
It was entertaining.
And also Bob Odenkirk. He's brilliant in anything. He's amazing. I love what they did writing his character in this movie because he's the president of the United States, and I don't think it's a spoiler to say that in the beginning of the movie he reveals that he's not going to be seeking re-election because he wants to pursue a career in movies.
Yeah.
And just that setup, and it's called back a couple of times, but that conceit for his character I thought was just comedy gold.
Yeah.
Every time it's referenced, it just cracked me up. And it was really, that was a strong comedic beat for me. Anything else stand out in non-spoilers, or should we dive into spoilers?
I say we dive into spoilers.
Okay, cool. So we're going to go into spoilers for Long Shot, which is opening May 3rd nationwide. It's on your side. And did you get...
no.
That's not, nationwide is on your side.
Oh.
Insurance company. Nationwide is on your side. Anyway, they don't sponsor us.
In no way are we sponsored by them.
Nope. And I work for a different insurance company. But overall thoughts before we dive into spoilers. What's your letterbox rating?
I gave it 3.5 stars because I thought it was really funny. I laughed my ass off throughout, and that's all I really needed from a movie like this. That was part of what I was, I'm not looking for anything especially deep with this movie. So yeah, it made me laugh, and it delivered on the comedy, and had a lot of genuine. It was just a genuine film. It didn't feel. It didn't feel over Hollywoodized or produced or anything like that. It was just a fun comedy. Yeah.
I'll echo a lot of those, but I'll have my rating be 3 stars and probably a little heart for Letterboxd. So
nice.
Find out why in the spoiler section of the episode. All right, we're gonna play a clip from the trailer and then go into spoilers for Long Shot.
Charlotte, I would like to endorse you to be the next president of the United States.
Oh my God.
You've been a great secretary.
Of state.
Which state again?
All of them?
Is the Secretary of State looking at us?
I kind of know her.
It's like kind of knowing a mermaid.
When you tell people that.
She probably doesn't remember who I am.
Secretary of Field would like to speak with you. With me?
I can't shake this feeling that we know each other.
We do.
We do?
Picture me, I guess, maybe 20 years younger, but like this.
Flarsky?
Yeah.
What are you doing these days?
I'm a journalist.
You're a great writer, but sometimes you're a little too much.
I don't think I am too much. I actually think I'm the perfect right portion.
It's really nice to see you again.
Whoa, gang! Crack her down. I'm okay. Did boys and men just call me a cracker?
Okay, so I mentioned right off the bat. Let's talk about this particularly in spoilers. The Molly scene.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's well executed. Basically, they take the night, go to a club, I think in Paris, and they take Molly, and then she's the Secretary of State, so she gets called in for a international crisis involving a U.S. serviceman that's been held captive by a different nation. So we get we get a funny kind of scene where she is dealing with this international crisis while on Molly. And then I think that kind of, it was funny. It was well enough executed, but it just, at that moment, I felt like, okay, well, here's our R-rated comedy drug scene. And it just, in that kind of made me think, like, okay, this is absolutely like a completely cookie-cutter R-rated comedy, romantic comedy kind of movie. And I couldn't really, like, once that happened, like, once that clicked with me, I couldn't really divorce myself from that. So, like, obviously, like, oh, okay, O'Shea Jackson Jr., he is the quintessential best friend. June Day and Raphael is the confidant of the female lead, and okay, they're together, but then obviously something's going to happen that they're going to be separated, and then they're going to come together, and it's going to be this big dramatic moment at the end, and like it's just the tropes of the genre and the trappings of the genre, which I didn't go into the movie expecting it to break the mold, or to do anything that would subvert the genre by any means. Right. But it is a concept and it is a movie I've seen thousands of times. Right. How'd you feel about the drug scene, and did it do anything for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was funny, but it's also arguably the most over-the-top part of the movie. Yeah. I mean, other than the fact that she wins the election and he's the first mister or whatever. Yeah. That was over the top, and it's like, this is, the whole movie, the whole premise is basically unbelievable. But that is the most unbelievable part of it. The good thing about it is it doesn't take you out of the movie, but you're just like, oh my god, come on, you're crazy. Yeah. But then you laugh because it's funny. It's genuinely funny, and especially, there's the dynamic of Charlize Theron, like I said, being this elegant, beautiful woman, and we're not used to seeing her in this kind of scenario. Right. So there's a whole subtext there that makes it even funnier, or I guess elevates it on a different level than just kind of the tropey drug scene in an R-rated comedy. That made it somewhat different, but yeah, I mean, it was standard, but at the same time, it's like, there's nothing wrong with that. You can have fun with it. Yeah, it
was standard, but like I said, it was executed well. But it just kind of made me think, like, okay, I'm not going to see anything too, like, groundbreaking or unique in this movie. Right. That's kind of what I came away from it with, and also, like, probably arguably a bigger gripe for me. I don't even know if I necessarily say it's a gripe, but in that scene where June Diane Raphael and Seth Rogen are in the kind of conference room while all that's going on, I loved that as each scene unfolded with them, like, there were more and more empty water bottles in front of Seth Rogen. Yeah. that was a great visual gag. Right. But the whole, like I thought that this was a very funny comedic moment where he is, like, he's saying, like, I need to confide in you. We're on drugs right now. Yeah. We're really high. And she keeps motioning that, they have, like, microphones in the room, like, they can hear everything. And he doesn't get it, and he keeps repeating that they're on drugs. Like, that's a genuinely, like, hilarious moment. Right. But I really thought that they were going to set it up to be like that is going to come back and be like the big dramatic moment in the third act to kind of tear them apart or put everything in jeopardy. Right. And, like, I would have been on board with that. I would have been totally on board with that, because it would have been a little bit less of the archetypical R-rated rom-com tropes and everything, because what we got instead was, okay, they break up. Why did they even break up again? We just saw this movie.
Yeah. Well, because they hacked his computer.
Oh, yeah. Okay, she was blackmailed into breaking up with him. That's right. And, like, that's fine, but, like, it's... The whole end game of it was that she just had to decide that, okay, she's not going to compromise her relationship for the easy route to the presidency and everything, and that's fine, but that's all internal for her. There wasn't any like outward like conflict for their relationship aside from them breaking up and then getting back together. I feel like there should have been a little bit more with that. Did you get any of that?
Yeah, that was almost like rushed, or like they kind of brushed over that really quickly. But I mean, the movie was surprisingly long for like a goofy comedy. It was like just over 2 hours.
2 hours and 5 minutes.
Yeah, so I mean, it kind of was running on a little long. So I don't know if that was a time thing or it's like they kind of just had to squeeze that in, shoehorn it in, but. It didn't bother me too much.
Okay, fair enough. There was also, like, going back to their meet cute, what got them together, I thought that was a really well done scene where, like, they're about to kiss and then the missile strikes. And, like, that was a really interesting set piece. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. Let's see, what else can we talk about with this? Let's see, Bob Odenkirk was great. Just the recurring bit about TV actors going from TV to film, that was really fun.
Right.
Also, just the premise that the country elected a man president who played a president on TV for 6 years.
Yeah.
Like that was great, and that helped cement or helped establish the far-fetched kind of world that the movie lives in, because it immediately just tells us, like, okay, well, this is really out there and crazy. So of course, we're going to have all of these antics where, like, the Secretary of State is tripping on Molly and and has this relationship with a dude that came on his face, and still is elected president after saying that the president's a fucking idiot and literally dropping the mic on her speech. So it just established it, and that brought me into the world of Long Shot pretty well. Yeah. Anything else, or should we start to wrap it up?
I wrap it up. I mean,
it is a bonus episode, so we're good.
Well, yeah, and it's not a very complicated movie.
No, it's not.
Not a ton to dissect, really.
Right.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about? Okay, so like a big part of the movie is Charlize Theron's character has initiated this kind of green deal, this environmental deal that includes that kind of reminded me of my nephew a little bit, but is this environmental pact or whatever with other countries and everything. So how do you think that correlate? Do you think that was a worthy kind of piece of policy that's reflective of the current administration's? I don't know. This is a long road for a stupid joke.
Well, I thought it was actually funny because I think they were sort of poking fun at those kinds of policies because they basically just called it B's, trees, and C's. And so, like, and everybody's like, oh, now the trees are out. And it's like they weren't even trying to add any kind of dynamism to it. It was all just this simplistic, like, well, the trees are all going to die now. Or it's like, well, we don't care about the C's anymore. And it's like,
who cares about bees? That's all I have is bees.
Right. There's no specificity at all in it. And I feel like that's how those policies really are. Like, because in the real world, it's like, oh, we're releasing this new environmental policy. And like, it's like 1,800 pages long, and no one's going to read it, and no one knows any of the details or the minutia, but it's like, we're going to save the trees, the bees, and the seas, and it's just like, okay, this is a good policy, I want to get on board with this, and that's how it is. Like, it's overly simplified in the actual political world, and they made it even simpler in the movie.
That's really interesting.
I mean, it wasn't like laugh out loud funny, it was like situationally funny, like, just the way they were talking about it and the nonchalance with which it was discussed I found that pretty entertaining.
That's interesting because I had a different reaction to it, or a different read on it. Really, is that like I totally like get your point and everything, but my kind of way of interpreting it, or my read on it, was that it was just it's a comedy movie. They don't need to go in depth with anything really,
right?
And I mean, it is set up as like, okay, this is just a puff piece kind of piece of policy that they're going to do just for political gain, but it, like, the simplicity of it just felt like, okay, we don't need to waste time with actually doing anything here because it's a comedy movie,
right?
That was how I read it. It's more cynical than
gotcha.
But I did think, and I think I was a little disappointed at this aspect of it, because I really thought, given the way that it was set up at the beginning, where they said like, oh, B's, trees, and C's, for some reason, part of me was kind of expecting that to come into play later as like I thought maybe it would be take a route where like, okay, Seth Rogen embarrasses her in some way because they like, no one realizes that B's, trees, and C's can mean something else, or like I thought it was setting up like, it's such an overly simplistic like idea. Like I thought that they were setting up like, oh, it's actually going to be this clever turn of phrase or something, but I couldn't piece it together because there was nothing to piece together there.
Gotcha.
But I kind of thought that it was going to lead to something a little more unique than just being a kind of general kind of oversimplified policy thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Physical comedy was good. There were a couple of really good, like, heightened physical comedy scenes involving Seth Rogen. Like, he falls down the stairs, and before that he flies out of a window. Very hard. Like, very rough. And I'm glad that we only got really those two scenes.
Yeah.
Because I kind of felt like if they did more than that, it would be a little more, it would come across as just too slapsticky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Would have been too over the top.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So, any final thoughts on Long Shot?
No, I don't think so. It was fun though. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a good time. I did enjoy it. If you, and that's it. I feel like it's kind of strategically placed for release because it's a good. I think it would work well for like a decompressing after Endgame.
Yeah. Because
like we've had so much like.
In Game of Thrones.
In Game of Thrones, yeah. So, like, so much stress and everything in media. Like, this is a fun, like, charming 2 hours and 5 minutes you'll spend in the theater.
Exactly.
Yeah. And also, just as an aside, I mentioned this in one of our group chats. The Mueller report is on Audible.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty interesting. I listened to like the beginning of it a little bit, and like I just had this stupid joke in my head. It's like it's on Audible and it's free on Audible, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But like I was like my joke about it is that like, you know, it's pretty good, but he doesn't do any of the voices. Like nice. It's very dry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's something else. So yeah, I think that'll about do it. Yeah, so we will have already had our Endgame review posted, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. And then at some point we're going to do a review of Game of Thrones episode 3 soon, so hopefully we can get that worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also check out Anthology and Tower Junkies, which is going to make its triumphant return sooner rather than later.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be safe to say that we will have a new Tower Junkies episode before people drive 500 miles in a circle in our hometown.
I think so.
Okay, good. All right, so that was for no one. So, okay. Yeah, I need to get gas and get Tiny home to his wife and his dog. And yeah, yes. So thank you guys so much for listening, and follow us on social media and support us on Patreon, all that stuff. And have a good one.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Hi, moving in. I was hoping you'd be a man. There's not enough erections around here as it is. What's this? You were a cheerleader.
My mother was very sick, so I quit the team.
Maybe you should give it another shot.
We want to start a cheerleading club.
Who will you be cheering for?
Ourselves. Show us what you've got.
She's great. I always did want to be a cheerleader. I asked my husband, what'd he say? Over my dead body.
That was fast.
A little too fast, if you ask me. See you at practice.
Okay, we're recording.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, we should have gotten those people's names so we could give them like a shout out.
We
in case
should
they
have.
Listen.
Unless, or well, if they listen and they hear this,
they can tweet at us.
Yes, they can.
Yeah.
At Obsessive Viewer and at Burger_Lurker. So since this is going in the bonus episode, there's no real need for preamble. But hey, we're here. It's me and Kyrsten.
We're in a car and it's cold and it's raining.
It is. I purposely do not have my car on. But yeah, we just got out of Endgame. Yeah, well, we actually just got out of Outback
Steakhouse.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, they do.
The Outback.
Yes.
We went to Australia to see the movie.
Yes. We went to Australia to see the movie
with Taika Waititi.
Yes. Okay. I have to correct you here.
Oh,
he's from New Zealand.
Oh,
yes, we have gotten some flack over our disrespect for New Zealand.
Yeah, I know that they're different. Like, I totally get that. I just thought he was from Australia.
Okay, good. Whew. I'm glad, because we just got ourselves clear of the war with You're Gonna Love This or Not podcast.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, so... Whew.
They didn't love this.
Yeah, no. Speaking of which, I will be a guest on their podcast next, probably like this week when you
That's
guys are
canceled. No, I'm sure they'd be happy to have you.
Yeah, well, they already did. They've had me.
Oh, good. They've had you?
Yes. We talked about Short Circuit 2. Super excited. They're actually part of the Geeking in Indiana family of podcasts. So, yeah, they're part of Tony's little crew there. And you know Tony. And
I do,
sure
yeah.
You met Matt there, I'm sure, at Tony's wedding.
I met a lot of people there.
You did, yeah.
I'm sure if I saw him, I'd recognize him. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, first let's go ahead and talk about Poms real quick.
Okay, let's get that out of the way.
Yes. So we went to a press screening for Poms, advanced screening, press screening, what have you.
With Diane Keaton.
Yes.
Rhea Perlman. Alicia
Bowe, Jackie Weaver, Pam Grier, and some other people. Poms is about an older lady who goes to a retirement community and starts a club for the ladies there to be a cheer squad. What did you think of Poms?
I got exactly what I expected, I think. Mm-hmm. It was, a heartwarming tale with a good moral at the end of it. We were not the target audience.
We really weren't.
Definitely. The people in the theater who were seemed to love it. Yeah. It was cute and it was charming and it was, funny. I didn't love it. I mean...
Yeah. Same here. But it's got a lot of content that I can't relate to. I can't relate to the protagonist's struggles and journey and growth. Yeah. So there's that. Although you were a cheerleader in high school,
I was.
Can you speak to that experience and how it informed your opinion of Poms?
Well, I wasn't very good at it.
Okay.
I only tried out because my best friend wanted to try out and she didn't want to go alone, and then I made it and she didn't.
Oh God!
Yeah, she was cool with it though.
Okay. Was it your best friend Mackenzie?
Yes. Yeah, good memory.
Yeah. Well, I'm good.
Yeah, hey
I'm
Mackenzie,
great.
she's not listening, but
okay.
But
well, that's cool. Whatever.
But I mean, yeah, it was. I mean. Very stereotypical mean teenagers.
Yeah. Yeah, and I felt like...
And then a total 180 character development for a couple people.
Too. Which, I mean, to say it's unearned, it's like you said, we're not the target audience. This is a movie that's made for people that aren't too concerned with, plotting and everything, which is fine for people. But, I don't know, I felt like there were some steps here and there that just it took into different directions that it didn't seem to really care about developing it too much.
Yeah, I agree. Kind of going through the motions plot-wise is what it felt like.
But it was charming. It was cute.
Yeah. For what it was, I thought it was enjoyable.
Yeah.
I have no desire to ever see it again.
Right.
But it was, it was cute.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Check it out. So we're recording this Saturday night, May 11th.
Yes.
And tomorrow is Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all
Happy
the moms.
Mother's Day.
Yeah. Putting you in the hot seat. Did you get anything for your mom or do anything special?
Yes.
Okay.
We had our Mother's Day dinner for her last night.
Oh, okay.
At her favorite restaurant.
Oh, nice.
Jasmine and I got her. She always asks for gift cards for everything. Like
okay.
I like to get people a gift.
Right.
But she only wanted a gift card, so that's dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're having another family dinner with my mom and my grandmother tomorrow night.
Oh, nice.
So how about you?
My mom wants a Blu-ray and DVD player, and I'm going to get her a Blu-ray and DVD player. We don't really have plans. Maybe I'll take her out to dinner tomorrow. Yeah, because we haven't really made. I need to get in touch with my brother and sister and see.
But
what
we surprised our mom.
Nice.
Our dad was like, "Oh, I'm going to the store. Do you want to go to the store?" And
Aww.
she was like, "Yeah." And then they went to the store, and then El Azabache, my mom's favorite restaurant, and it's right next to the Kroger, and so he's like, "Well, why don't we go in and get something to eat?" And we were already there, and she
nice.
did the whole, "Oh no, I'm so surprised," and it was cute.
Nice. But to go back to the movie,
yes,
yeah, Poms is like a good take your mom to the movies.
Yeah,
movie.
it's a good feel good,
yeah.
movie.
Yeah. And we got B-dubs after that, so that was fun. But let's talk about Endgame since we did so.
If we do this, we'd be going in short-handed.
Yeah, you mean because they killed all our friends?
We owe this to everyone who's not in this room to try.
It's not about how much we lost. It's about how much we have left. We're the Avengers. We gotta finish this. You trust me? I do. You could not live with your own failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me.
So we already did our special episode about Endgame. Me and Tiny reviewed it, and this is going to be kind of a supplemental review and everything. So we're going to go ahead and go spoilers on because at this point everyone's probably seen it. So.
I finally saw it. I was so busy there for a while, and then by the time we coordinated our schedules, it was just that the theaters were packed. So it's been out for 2 weeks.
This is the third.
This is the third week.
Yes,
okay.
This is the third weekend. So just real quick, if you guys haven't seen Endgame yet, go ahead and turn off this podcast and come back when you
destroy your phone.
Yes.
Burn it.
Yes.
Run it over with your car, just to be safe.
It's a little bit of overkill, but that's fine. Please don't do that. Obsessive Viewer is not liable for any damage to your phone. So I've already seen Endgame, and I've already talked about Endgame, and I'm already burping into the microphone. What did you think of Endgame?
So we're well
Kyrsten?
on our way.
Yes.
I loved it. It was great. It was a good culmination to how many years deep are we in the MCU?
10 or 11 years
11
at this
years.
point. 22 movies, which the beginning of the movie when Tony is talking about how long they've been adrift at space, he says day 22. That's a reference to 22 movies.
Okay. That's good. That's good. It was great.
Nice.
It was very fun and action packed, and it was good.
What I really loved about it, especially in this viewing, was the baby in the theater and the annoying patrons in the theater.
Guys, this was the worst theater experience I have ever had.
I yelled at teenagers.
Yes.
In a very gruff and authoritative.
I said in the theater, I said, "I'm proud of you."
You
and
did.
I was.
That filled my heart with joy.
Because they really did shut up when you yelled at them.
Yeah.
But it was these kids who were, sitting at down in the front. We were in the back, and he just yelled, "Shut the fuck up!" And,
yeah.
and they did.
Let me set the scene.
It was so bad.
It was like, God damn it. Like, okay.
It was so bad.
The first, like, this particular situation where I became the hero of the movie theater.
I wouldn't go that
It was,
far.
well, I would. That's fine.
I love how you were like, spoilers, and then we're just talking about how shitty the experience was.
And this does fall into spoilers, so the moment of the movie, the big freaking big
penultimate moment,
culmination of like 22 movies to 11, 12 years of movies comes where Tony takes the gauntlet, or takes the stones off the gauntlet and puts it on his little Iron Man hand, and right when that happens, this fucking kid in the front row was
yelled, "Reverse card!"
Yeah, and I'm like, when he said that, I almost like told him to shut the fuck up.
But you knew what was coming.
I knew what was coming.
The big line.
I did not want to overshadow.
I am Iron Man.
I didn't want to overshadow Robert Downey Jr.
Right? Yeah, didn't want to steal his thunder.
Right.
You know.
But as soon as like that happened, like they said something, they did.
Well, and they were talking a lot. It was like they yelled out something. I couldn't catch what they were saying.
Yeah,
but they just kept going.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I didn't know if it was the kid trying to be clever again. Or
I think so.
Yeah. So I just yelled like, "Shut the fuck up!" And then
I think he was yelling meme stuff. Like
I think so
that's
too.
what it is.
Yeah. And then they laughed a little bit.
I sound so old.
I know.
These kids and their yelling memes
with their memes and stuff. But yeah,
and their floss dances.
And then at that point, the movie theater they shut down the movie, and then like everyone started cheering for me.
We lifted him up on our shoulders, and
it was Sheila. The way I said it, no one would think that it was a woman saying it. Anyway, okay, whatever you're about to say is getting cut out.
Matt, you're the best.
Oh, thank you.
You said you're going to cut it out.
Anyway, that's what she said. I don't know.
What?
I don't know.
That's not how sex works, Matt.
It's been a while. I don't know. Anyway.
That was the voice he used when he yelled.
That actually really was. But yeah, so anyway.
I said they probably thought it was some mom.
Yeah, like some mom that their mom worked with.
Shut the fuck up! Young men! Gonna come up and grab him by the ear.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so that wasn't the only disruption or anything.
Yeah, there was someone who had their infant.
Yeah.
And we've talked on the podcast before about babies in movies and how they don't belong.
Kyrsten hates all babies.
I hate baby. No, I don't. Okay, if you have a child that is the age where a child cannot sit through an entire movie, don't bring it to the movie.
Yeah.
Or if you are, take it to a kid's movie, because that's a little, that's acceptable, more acceptable anyway.
Right.
But why
I would even argue not to do that.
Why would you take your infant to a 3-hour long adult movie?
And as I pointed out several times during the movie, there's no fucking way that infant saw all 22 MCU movies.
What a poser.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Fucking
there
crying
in its
at
Captain America onesie.
Yeah. And he was crying at Tony Stark dying. Like, okay, you haven't put in the work, young boy or girl.
You don't have the emotional investment.
You don't.
Yeah, no, but don't bring your baby to a 3-hour movie. If that was someone who's listening, we hate you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just know
and
that.
your baby.
I hate that baby.
No, but yeah, it was just
and there were these teenagers who were taking
that was
selfies
a whole thing.
And talking and laughing throughout the whole movie and running up and down the stairs. It was it was horrible. It was so distracting.
And another hero in the theater told them to shut up.
Yeah.
And
then they got into an argument.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. Anyway, so let's talk about the movie.
Okay, yeah. But real quick, last thing about that. They left or something, and then they forgot something, or they
lost
left something. They lost something, and the guy who was working security for the theater came in within the last 10 minutes of the movie, shining his light on his phone,
trying to find whatever they had lost.
It's you guys can't wait 10 minutes for the credits to start rolling. But anyway, so the movie was really good.
The movie was good. Yeah. I loved all the Easter eggs from the comics.
Yes,
really great stuff. Professor Hulk, the whole there's this famous scene from the comics where Thor throws Mjolnir and. Spider-Man is hitching a ride on it, and they did that with Captain America, but that's totally a scene straight from the comics.
I didn't know that was a reference or anything. And you pointed out, I was like, that's pretty
Asgardians
awesome.
of the Galaxy is from the comics. Captain's Hail Hydra, his betrayal.
Yes,
that's from the comics.
Yeah,
that's pretty recent, actually.
Yeah, I was aware of that, and when he said that, I was like, that's so clever. That's really good. What did you think of like the time jump, and what did you think of like the prologue where they go after Thanos after he's destroyed the stones and chop off his head? Like, what did you think of that? Because obviously, like you said, like you turned to me and said like it's too early in the movie. What were you?
No, I know. I thought it was great. Obviously, you know that's not the end,
Right.
and you know he's going to come back in some form. But I really liked seeing this big bad, like the ultimate villain, just reduced to this like weak, hobbled man. And that's what he was.
Yeah, like he wasn't reaping the benefits of his actions or anything, and it wasn't like it's kind of a mixed thing, I guess, or it's not murky, but it's like on one hand it's like is he just kind of regretting what he did, or on the other hand it's like, well, he just depleted all of his energy.
I think it's more that. I don't think he regretted it.
Okay,
I don't think so.
Okay. Cool.
But it obviously took a huge toll from him to use the stones twice.
Yeah.
And he was, I believe, just so close to death already.
Right.
And it was just seeing him reduced to that, after he, killed trillions of beings.
Right.
And trounced the entire Avengers team, and now he's just fallen so far.
Right.
And I loved seeing that.
Me too. Too. And it's like Infinity War was definitely like Thanos' movie. Like he had such a strong arc and everything, and he was like kind of the focal point. It was cool to see like the other side of that, like the Avengers having to avenge everything, but also still
it's kind of what they do.
Yeah, exactly. Just really cool. What did you think of Tony? Like just Tony's arc, like
I thought it was great. I think it was what they were building toward the entire time. His was the first Avengers movie, so we started with him, we ended with him. It was a good way to go. Yeah,
and it's like something that people are pointing out all over the internet and everything is just like how amazing it is. Just like what else happened. Like he was like Robert Downey Jr. was, like his career was like he was
alcoholic
addict.
and
and like he like in the 90s he just went into
kind
a
of off the rails
spiral and like his redemption as a person in real life and his growth and recovery and everything kind of mirrors in a sense Tony's whole trajectory through all the movies. And it's interesting because like I guess for Iron Man 2, which is one of the lesser MCU movies, they wanted to do there's a story arc for Tony Stark where it's like I think it's called Demon in the Bottle. It's about his alcoholism and everything, and they wanted to do that for Iron Man 2, but I guess the studio was like, no, we need to make more Avengers stuff in it.
Gotcha. There is there's a subplot of alcoholism in the main Iron Man timeline. There's one interesting the whole multiverse thing. There's Peter Parker travels to another universe, and the Tony there is still an alcoholic.
Oh,
interesting. And he's like, oh, my Tony stopped drinking years ago, and it's like this really sad, bittersweet moment.
I hear that as Tom Holland saying it.
Totally.
But anyway, also about Iron Man 2, they apparently filmed like an opening scene that was like supposed to play into that whole thing. Like he's on a plane and he's in the Iron Man suit and he's puking and everything, and Pepper's trying to talk to him about going in and doing his thing. But anyway, so that was cool. What was your favorite moment in the movie?
I don't know.
By the way, we're in my car. I didn't say that before. There's another, what me and Tiny have affectionately called a car special.
Okay.
So,
I don't like the sound of that.
Yeah.
Car special cost you $20 in a back alley somewhere. Favorite moment.
Yes.
That's so tough. I don't know. I feel like I might need more time to decompress.
Sure.
The whole 3-hour movie that I just saw.
That baby is already saying his favorite moment.
That baby is very advanced.
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably. Cap handling Mjolnir was great, and then the whole the Avengers assemble is so powerful. Oh, I also loved when all the women come to help Peter at that one point, and it's like all the women on the battlefield, and then Peter. But I'm like, yes, ladies,
See,
yes, that was great.
Okay, and I'm so glad that you brought that up, because when me and Tiny, two white men, we're talking
really,
about it, we're talking about it. We kind of both had a different reaction. We were kind of like, okay, well it seems like it's great on paper, like, to have that. And they had a similar scene in Infinity War with Scarlett Johansson, Scarlet Witch, and
Denai Guerrera. Okoye.
Okay, yeah. I just stumbled through. I didn't know.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But in this movie, kind of felt like that was a little. I used this word in the review, but I kind of feel like it's too harsh of a word. But it's a little pandering.
Oh, I didn't think so.
You didn't think so?
No.
Okay, well, that's fine.
I'm the exact type of person that they would be pandering to, and I did not feel pandered to.
Yeah.
No, I mean, maybe if it was a longer moment, if the women like delivered the final blow or something,
Right.
But it was a short moment,
Sure.
And they just all stood together and defended Peter,
right?
And I think it was a really nice moment.
And Captain Marvel, they defended her because she had the gauntlet.
She doesn't need defending though.
She does.
That headbutt was
beautiful. Awesome. How did you feel about Captain Marvel's role in the movie?
Wish she had been in it more.
Yes.
We talked kind of briefly about Endgame was filmed. Completed before Captain Marvel, so they didn't have the character completely fleshed out. I get that. They also, she is so powerful that I feel like it's very easy to kind of she's overpowered, at that point. And she had a good excuse for not being there for most of the movie, that there is a whole universe out there that needs protecting. I just feel like they should have called her.
Right.
When they had their plan, they definitely needed her. They needed everyone they could get. I also don't understand why Okoye wasn't in the movie.
Yeah. We talked about that.
We said we hypothesized that she's probably running Wakanda.
Right.
And that makes sense, but I would have liked it explained, or I would have liked to have had her there.
Yeah.
They needed her there. There's no reason for her not to have been there, in my opinion.
Right.
Wakanda can run itself.
Yeah.
They got it fine. They're fine. They needed Okoye. And they needed Captain Marvel, and that's I wish that they had been in the whole movie. I just there's no reason for them not to have been there.
Right. What did you think? How did you feel about the time travel and everything?
I thought it was fine. Yeah, cool. I thought their suits looked kind of dumb.
Yeah, I liked it. I like the uniformity and everything. Yeah. All the jokes about time travel were great.
Yeah, hot tub time machine. Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What else?
I don't know. Just all the Captain America versus Captain America fight. That was great.
That was one of my favorite moments.
Yeah.
And just capping
that is America's ass.
Yeah. Capping it off with that, no pun intended.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just so
it was good.
Great.
It was a good movie, and I love that. There was Tom Holland had a little thing before the movie saying that, hey, I know you're probably expecting the Spider-Man Far From Home trailer. We're going to show it after the movie because it's got spoilers in it. And then they did. They showed it right after the movie. It was really great.
I thought that was so cool.
It was so well done.
That. I hadn't heard of them doing that.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And I hadn't watched the Far From Home trailer because I knew I had heard that it contains major spoilers and I shouldn't see it. So So I'm glad that I got to see it on the big screen. For the first time.
Yeah, that was very cool.
Yeah, and I didn't, because I was going to, when we got out to our cars, I was going to, okay, let's watch the trailer now, on our tiny phones.
Yeah. What did you think of the Far From Home trailer?
Oh, it looks great. Spider-Man's my favorite character from the MCU, mostly because of Tom Holland. He just does a phenomenal job.
He's
really,
amazing.
no one can play the role like he has.
Right.
And the movies, the Spider-Man movie was so good. I'm really looking forward to Far From Home and seeing how he deals with this trauma.
Yes.
Not only was he gone for 5 years and now, and he's got to come to terms with that.
Right.
But also his mentor, a father figure in his life is gone, and he has a new baby sister that he's got to help, grow up in this crazy world, and he's just got a lot going on.
Yeah.
And also he's Spider-Man.
Right.
Oh, man.
And he's got a vacation.
I said before the movie, I said the one question I need answered was, did Ned get snapped, or is he out there looking for his best friend?
Yes.
I believe he got snapped because we think we have it figured out.
Right.
So he's 5 years later and he hasn't aged because he was dead,
right.
And has been brought back. And by that logic, everyone who he was in high school with, who is still there, also got snapped, because otherwise they would be 5 years older and they would have graduated by now. So Ned, MJ, I saw Flash.
Yes, Flash
in the trailer.
Yeah.
So all the
major characters from
all
Homecoming.
the main characters.
Yeah.
Also got snapped.
Right.
I said, wouldn't it be cool if like Ned's an adult now and like he's already out of college, and
I kind of wish that they could do that.
He's still like, you know, Peter, you're back, and he's like, they're still best friends, and it's the same old Ned. He's just a little bit older now. Like, wouldn't that be neat?
Yeah. Speaking of like stuff like online spoiling stuff, like they released the Far From Home trailer the Monday after the second weekend, so this past Monday, and they said like, hey, there's going to be spoilers, so spoilers, the spoiler ban has been lifted, which makes sense, 2 weekends, that's fine. But they also released a TV spot.
When we were at B-Dubs, it was on, and I looked up, and he said, "Don't look."
Yeah, it's just like it's like less than 2 minutes.
Was the spoiler that I almost looked at, because I know it was the fight scene? Was it that Captain had the hammer? Was that what you didn't want me to see?
Among other things.
Okay.
Like, watch this.
Hope you guys are ready, because I'm going to watch this.
I know.
You're going to listen to me watch this.
Yes.
This is really good content.
It is.
Right here.
Well, I'm probably going to just put it in the episode, so you'll see. Okay, this came out, like, this week.
Okay, so you see they're all back.
Yeah.
Avengers Endgame is shattering records across the globe.
His daughter, Morgan.
Part of the journey.
Cap on cap.
Be a part of cinematic history.
The hammer.
And they give away so much.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, Avengers Assemble.
It's like we were talking about. We knew they were coming back because there's another Spider-Man movie.
Right.
There's another Black Panther movie. So it's not like this is the end.
Right.
It's not like they're not going to get them back. We know they
That's
are.
true.
But how it happens is, the journey is part of the fun.
Right.
It's not just about the result.
Right.
Knowing that everyone comes back. It's how it happens and how they do it, and the lessons they learn along the way.
Exactly. The real endgame is the friends we made along the way.
The friends we've made, this family.
Final thing, and we can wrap up and everything. What did you think of Natasha?
Yeah, it was unexpected. I knew. I mean, when they go to, I don't remember the name of the planet now. Vormir, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit! Like, there's two of them, and they're conveniently best friends. And the Soul Stone requires a sacrifice, so I knew that one of them was going to have to be sacrificed. But it was a bit much for me, the whole battle, like, to who's going to jump over the edge first. I was like, come on, guys! If you both end up dying, who's going to be there to take back the Soul Stone? Like,
I can understand that, but I liked it just because it was I liked it as not a mirror, but like as a reflection, I guess, of it's the same thing.
Like, literally.
Yeah. As a counter to Thanos sacrificing Gamora, because in the first movie we have like, oh, he just sacrifices Gamora, she's like crying and screaming and everything, and then like you have these two like best friends like
that love each other so much.
Yeah, they're each trying to sacrifice themselves. So I like that juxtaposition there.
Okay, I get that. It was just a bit much for me.
Right. The stakes were pretty high. Yeah, you did turn to me and you were like, wait, there are two of them, and I'm like,
yeah.
Yep.
That's the point. I think it's great that Clint gets to be with his family now.
Yeah.
Part of me wonders, is Natasha really gone for good?
I think, yeah.
Do you know something?
No. I'm positive she is. Like,
okay.
Because soul for a soul.
Yeah, I know. I just part of me is wondering.
Okay. They do have a Black Widow movie coming out.
They do?
Yeah. I think it's going to be, obviously, a...
Set, like an origin story.
Prequel, yeah.
Is it still going to be starring Scarlett Johansson?
I think so, but I'm not sure. But it's been a long time coming. It's cool to have.
Yeah, it would have been good to have it, 10 years ago when the franchise was started. But
I actually I haven't read too much about it, but like one of the original like billionaire dudes that were in charge of Marvel and everything at the outset of the MCU is this guy named Ike Perlmutter.
Oh,
who?
That guy.
Yeah, he apparently, like in 2015, he left, or like he was no longer in charge of making any decisions or anything at Marvel Studios. Apparently, he's just a massive asshole. Like he's a piece of shit. He, and I could be getting this wrong, I'll link to, there's an article by Joanna Robinson that, for I think Variety, that kind of goes into detail about this from a few years ago, but I'll link it in the show notes. But he, like, okay, when they were starting Iron Man 2, I think when they developed like Black Widow as part of the movie, I want to say that he was like all about like making her just a sex object and having just sex appeal and everything.
Yep.
And then also when they were talking about recasting Terrence Howard as Rhodey, he is alleged to have been on the record as saying like, well, it doesn't matter because they all look the same anyway.
Holy
yes, referring
crap.
to black people. Yeah. So glad he's not, in charge of anything.
Yeah.
But I feel like you can probably, like, I think the conversation around him and his involvement with the MCU is like, that's kind of an explanation of why some of those earlier movies don't work as well as the later ones do. But yeah, so he's a piece of shit. So yeah. Yeah.
So we're pretty good friends.
Yes.
Would you sacrifice me for the Soul Stone?
Without question.
Shut up! What is wrong with you?
Honestly,
oh man.
What I will say is that if it came down to either of us, like, I would like to think that I would want to, like, I'd be like, oh, I'd be noble enough to try to sacrifice myself, and I would like to think that you would too. But I also think that you could.
I don't know. I got a lot going on for me right now.
Hey,
so.
I do too. I yelled at teenagers.
Everything's coming up, Kyrsten.
Yeah. But if it came to a point where we were fighting it out, like, you would kick my ass, and
I think I would kick your ass.
Yeah,
yeah. I would totally Natasha all over you.
Yes. That sounds like something different.
I said it, and I'm sticking by it.
Okay. Well, this is a car special.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but I would let you win the fight so that you could sacrifice yourself, so I could be like, oh, hey, she just kicked my ass, guys.
Okay, Sheila.
Yeah. Hey, shut the fuck up.
Your voice cracked like you were like, shut the fuck up. It was
yeah, because it was a like, I didn't anticipate doing that.
Yeah, I totally.
And I was like, I don't know why I said that.
Yeah, you really did.
I did, yeah.
But it worked though.
It did,
so.
yeah. I'm gonna start yelling at people in theaters more.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, well,
but yeah, yeah, it was a great movie.
Yes.
I can't wait to see like what direction the MCU goes in next.
Absolutely.
With the new generation. I can't. Can we talk about Thor with Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yes, I really hope that he's in Guardians.
So we know
3.
that they're making Guardians 3 and
that James Gunn is back.
Yes, that's big news. That's huge. You hypothesized that they were going to bring him back, and I said I don't think they're ever going to do that.
And I didn't believe
they did. They totally. They did. That's great. But. The rumored plot for Guardians 3 is that it's going to be like the search for Gamora,
right?
And I said, well, Thor he's with the Guardians now. Like, is he going to be like one of the main cast of Guardians 3? So. That would be so cool. Like, why wouldn't he be? He's with them now. Yeah. So, and I said, wouldn't it be like such shit if they just like at the beginning of the movie, like, well, it's a good thing we dropped Thor off on that planet, that casino planet, and he's just down there drinking and gambling, and that's how they write off Thor in the MCU.
I would be so mad.
Yeah. But I really hope that he's going to be part of the main cast.
Me too. I really hope so.
Him and Drax and Groot and Chick with the antenna.
That was such a great line.
That was great.
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah.
Last thing that I didn't talk about when we were talking about Poms. Would you go into a retirement community like that?
Oh.
I asked you that in the theater.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I don't have kids. I don't have like anyone to take care of me.
Right.
And I have a nephew, but I don't want to. He's 4 years old. I don't want to hope that he's gonna like let me live with him because also like that would suck for everyone. I mean, honestly, it seemed like kind of cool. Like, there's all these clubs you can join. They had a real community feel. Like, I know that Diane Keaton's character is like, oh, this sucks, but like the whole thing sucks for her.
Right.
Like, they have over 100 groups. You can find something that you like and just spend your last years. Like, it's a nice place to live. Why wouldn't you?
It is, like, my kind of thing. I would probably do it, too, because it does seem pretty nice. Like, just, like, the way, like I said to you.
She still gets to live on her own, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean...
and like I said to you, like, driving golf carts around everywhere, that's fun
the
for
dream.
everyone. Yeah.
That's the American dream.
But the kind of the cliques and the social aspects of it would just be...
Okay, that's anything.
But I want to be a hermit that doesn't...
Then do that.
But it's also like, how are people... Like, I want the old people in my community to listen to my podcasts and stuff. So...
You can't have it all, Matt.
I can and I will.
You can't just snap your fingers and get what you want.
Hey! Yeah. Okay, well, I think this sufficiently is a good place to end it. Yeah.
End it all.
End it all.
Goodbye, guys.
Goodbye.
Forever.
Yes. Any parting thoughts before we stop?
I just want to throw...
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I want to throw in the bit that I saw online that Ant-Man's stunt double is an amputee.
Yes. Very cool.
Yeah, he has a leg amputation, which, first of all, that's awesome. But also I saw someone posted...
That just sounds like... First of all, that's awesome. Like, everyone should have their leg cut off.
Everyone should just have their... Yeah. It's great that they hired a stuntman with a disability,
right?
And it's not like it's not even like, oh, you're a stuntman for a character with a missing leg. Like you're stunting for a completely able-bodied person. Like you're just the best person for the job,
right?
You know, that's great. But also, I saw someone posted that, and then someone else replied with like a picture of Rocket and was like, "I'm gonna need that leg."
That's so awesome.
Like, that's great.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's fantastic. And we talked about like that as a topic when we talked about Skyscraper last year. And I talked about this around the time of Heartland Film Festival, but check out the Easter Seals Disability Film Challenge. It's a film challenge, like kind of a 48-hour film project kind of thing for people with disabilities. Like that's the kind of thing. It's a really cool organization. They partnered with Heartland last year, and I hopefully think that they're going to do it this year. But anyway, a good organization there. And the final thing, we got dinner after Endgame. And,
we met some new friends.
We met some new friends that we didn't think
we didn't get their names.
Yeah.
We'll call them friend A and friend B.
Yes, which is which, though?
I don't know.
Okay, I don't know. They're friends. I got nothing.
We can call them friend A and friend 1. That way it's fair for everybody.
Yes, they can. Yep, friend A and friend 1, and that's fitting because we met them at an Outback Steakhouse.
A1 steak house steak sauce. Get it?
Yes.
Matt is so clever, you guys.
I know.
Oh my god.
Anyway, we met some new friends there, and they were super nice. And we were chatting about Endgame and a little bit about Game of Thrones also. And I made sure to give them my card for the podcast. So if you're listening, friend A and friend. One. Yeah.
We just talked about that.
I know. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, tweet at us to let us know that you're listening.
Yes, at Obsessive Viewer and at burger_lurker.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's about it. I was going to bring up the whole John Mulaney thing, but I feel like that's probably not podcast worthy.
Well, you brought it up. You can't just address it and then
okay. Well, yeah, you know.
Talk about it.
Yeah, you were almost murdered.
Well, I don't know about I mean, I wasn't like nothing happened.
Right.
Someone tried to break into my apartment.
That's so fucking scary.
It is scary. Yeah, I was terrified.
Yeah.
No, I don't think anyone could really get in. I have a thick deadbolt on the door. But it's the middle of the night. I have a studio apartment, so it's very small, and my bed is like against the wall that my door is on. Like I'm,
and what's the address? Just so everyone knows. It's at 1, 2.
So, in the middle of the night, someone knocked on my door, and it woke me up. And then they actually tried like getting into the door. They were trying to open the door, and I was still half asleep, and I was confused and disoriented, and I on instinct, I just yelled, someone's in here! Just like John Mulaney from that bit where someone walks in on him in the restroom.
Yes.
And they took off. And
so great.
If anyone has any connection to John Mulaney, we have to get this story to him.
Yes, he must know.
He has to know that he has so vastly influenced my self-preservation instincts. But it worked.
Yeah. That's what I said. Like I texted you about it, and you said, like, yeah, I'm fine. And you said that you thought it was funny how fucked up your fight or flight response was, and I'm like, well, it worked. I mean,
I think that they probably assumed no one was home,
right?
Because it was dark and no one responded to the knock. And I should have just thrown my wallet out the door and been like, "You want it? Go get it! Street smarts,
studio apartment smarts."
But yeah, it's funny now. But like, I mean, it was terrifying when it happened,
right? Yeah. I can cut that out of the episode if you want me to. It's just, I mean, I did tweet, and I felt kind of like, I don't know, guilty about it. Yeah, I was like, she's on the podcast for 1 year, and she's getting like, I don't know.
No, you said, I know she hasn't been on the show in a while, but that's no reason to knock on her door in the middle of the night asking for her movie opinions or something like that.
Which, again, guys, that's no...
Guys, come on, leave me alone.
Yeah. And,
I mean, you know, everyone wants to hang out with me.
Harass me. I just,
No one wants to harass you, Matt.
I just...
Sorry.
Look,
I'm harassable, okay?
Hey, I am the hero of the AMC Southern Plaza 545 screening on May 11th of Endgame. So I think that
There are going to be statues in your honor.
Yes.
I heard a rumor that the mayor is going to give you a key to the city and that they're going to make May 11th Matt Day.
I hope so. You know what's funny is that May 11th is actually National Twilight Zone Day. That's it.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, let's finish this up because I need to go home and actually record anthology episodes. So hope you guys enjoyed this special bonus episode, this car special. We got a car special going. If you want any more car specials from me, come knock on my door in the middle of the night. Yeah. That sounds weird. Also, just to point out, you said like the middle of the night, and then when you told me about it later, you were like,
it was like 12:30.
Like it was like 12:30. I was like,
But I had been asleep for like 2 hours by that point. So.
Sure, not doing yourself any more favors.
I get up really early for work, and I like to get a lot of sleep.
See, I can respect that because I get up early for work too, but I'm always like deathly tired for the first half of my shift, and I don't understand it.
It's a mystery.
Yeah, it is.
It's weird.
Yeah. All right. Well,
12:30 is totally the middle of the night for some people.
I guess. But anyway, like when you said that, I was like, I was awake. I was about to go to bed.
Maybe that's why they assumed no one was home.
Yeah.
Because they're like, what kind of loser would be asleep by now? Must be empty. Let's raid the place. You know?
Oh.
Little did they know.
Yeah.
A loser lives there.
Oh. I agree. Okay. All right, that'll do it. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll see you next time. We need to next time you're on the podcast, we need to figure out when that's going to be because Aladdin's coming out, Detective Pikachu's out.
Oh God, I want to see.
Yeah, I know.
So bad.
So we'll figure something out. But yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. I'll see you next time. I don't know why I said it like that. All right, bye.
The Obsessive Viewer podcast is edited and produced by Matt Hurt and presented by ObsessiveViewer.com. For a full archive of our episodes, go to ObsessiveViewer.com/OV archive. You can also like our Facebook page and join the OV Facebook group at Facebook.com/TheObsessiveViewer. And follow us on Twitter at ObsessiveViewer and at ObsessiveTiny. And follow our recurring co-hosts at I am Mike White, that's me, at R.A. Feckus, and at Burger_Lurker. If you enjoy the show, please take a couple minutes to leave us a rating and a quick review on Apple Podcasts. This is the easiest way to support what we do, and all it costs is a little bit of your time. If you'd like to donate to the podcast, you can make a PayPal donation at ObsessiveViewer.com/donate. Or support us on Patreon for recurring donations and access to commentary tracks and B-roll audio recorded exclusively for patrons at patreon.com/ObsessiveViewer. Every donation goes toward paying the fees to keep the podcast running and is greatly appreciated. For official Obsessive Viewer merch, including shirts, mugs, phone cases, and more, visit our TeePublic store. You can find a link to the store in the show notes of this episode and at ObsessiveViewer.com/donate. Or you can simply search for Obsessive Viewer at teepublic.com. TEE public.com. For information about our annual live event showcasing short horror films from local filmmakers, check out shocktoberInIrvington.com. And for an archive of all our events, as well as news about potential future events, head over to obsessiveviewer.com/live. For more podcast content, you can find Anthology, Matt's solo podcast covering The Twilight Zone and other classic and contemporary science fiction anthology TV shows at anthologypod.com and on Twitter at OVAnthologyPod. You can also find Tower Junkies, a podcast where Matt and Tiny share their love of all things Stephen King and his magnum opus, the Dark Tower series, at towerjunkiespod.com and at towerjunkiespod on Twitter. And finally, check out The Secular Perspective, Tiny's side project podcast, which tackles current events and life's big questions from the perspective of secular hosts Chad and Amanda at thesecularperspective.com. The theme music for The Obsessive Viewer comes courtesy of the band Loudlike from their EP Mistakes We Must Make. Additional bumper music is provided courtesy of As Good As It Gets, which can be found at facebook.com/asgoodasitgetsband. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Kitty!